everyone, I'm Rhonda from Acres of Clay and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you a recipe from my mother-in-law. If you have followed me on Instagram or Facebook for any length of time, you may have seen a post that I posted about my mother-in-law passing away just after Christmas last year, and it was kind of a shock for all of us, and I thought it would be a great tribute to her to make one of her most requested cakes. Actually, it's Kevin's favorite cake, which happens to be a banana nut cake. So today I'm going to make that. I'm actually wearing one of her aprons, and I know that it doesn't match my shirt very well, but that's neither here nor there. So let's get on. It's a very easy recipe. My mother-in-law loved to bake. She made cookies, cakes, pies, all that stuff. She was very good at it, and this recipe is super moist, and it's just the best banana cake recipe that I have ever had. I'm going to share with you the recipe. I'll say the measurements and everything, but I'm also going to put the recipe in the description below. The description below is underneath the video. If you click the arrow, it'll drop it down so that you can see the whole thing. I'm going to be using a stand mixer, but you can go ahead and use just a hand mixer too, if that works for you. The first thing you're going to need is flour. I'm just using an unbleached all-purpose flour. It's the flour that I always use for almost everything. Then we're gonna add sugar, which is 1 2/3 cup of sugar. So there's quite a bit of sugar in here. Next is baking powder. So this is 1 1/4 of a teaspoon. I better measure correctly here. So 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Same with baking soda, 1 1/4 of a teaspoon. And I'm just mixing all the dry ingredients first. And then I have salt, just 1 teaspoon of salt. All right, so I'm gonna give this a little mix because this is the dry ingredients. Mix it up. All right. Now that those are mixed, we're going to add shortening. Some people might want to use butter. I find that shortening or lard is the best for this recipe. I'm going to need 2/3 cup of shortening. Stick that in there. I'm going to add 1/3 cup of milk. You can use whatever you want. I'm using whole milk. Alright, next thing is 2 large eggs, and I'm just putting all the wet ingredients in before I mix. And last is your bananas. Now my bananas, I have one that's really ripe, and then I have a couple that are fairly ripe. And the riper, the better, I find. And so I always try to let these sit out for a little bit extra long. That way they just mash up really well. And I don't mash these ahead of time. I just go ahead and break them up and put them right in the mixing bowl, and that works fine. But yeah, if I've had them so ripe, and they just turn out, it just makes a moister cake. So the riper the banana, I think the more moist the cake turns out to be. So this is gonna be 3 full bananas, and I'm just dumping it all in and let the mixer do its job. All right, so now I'm gonna start mixing it, and start out slow so you don't make a big poop. I like to beat it, and this helps break up the bananas. Okay, this is This is pretty much what it looks like. I'm gonna scrape down the edges and see if it's all mixed up. Looks like it's all mixed together well. And what you wanna do is go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I forgot to say that ahead of time, but you can do that when you first start. That way it's good and hot when you're ready to put your cake in the oven. Now, since this is considered a banana nut cake, and this is optional, but I think my family likes nuts, and so I always add a little bit to the batter, and I don't really have a set amount of how much, maybe anywhere from a half of a cup to maybe 2/3 of a cup, and I'm just gonna mix those in by hand. Whatever you want. I'm using pecans. If you'd rather have walnuts, those work good too. I've done walnuts, but we prefer pecans. I think we prefer pecans over walnuts, but both are really good. This is gonna make a 9x13 cake, or you can make 2 circle cakes. I don't know if those are 9-inch circle cake pans. I'm making a 9x13 cake today, so I just need a 9x13 cake pan. What in my video? Say hi. I've greased the pan, so you want to just grease the pan. You don't need to flour it. We'll probably just eat it out. We'll probably just eat it right out of this pan, and probably won't dump it out. Spread it around evenly. Now, this is a little bit of a thicker batter, so it might not be what you're used to, but it's a pretty dense cake actually, but it's very moist. In the oven, this is ready to go in the oven, and it goes in the oven 350 for about 45 to 55 minutes. You wanna check it with a toothpick, and when it comes out clean, then the cake will be finished. Then we'll let it cool, and I'll come back and put frosting on it. While the cake is in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and make the frosting. So the frosting is really, really simple, and you can alter some of the ingredients to make it fit your liking. Okay, so first I'm starting with 1 stick of butter, which is a half a cup. Half a cup of butter. And then we're gonna put in about equal amounts of shortening. There we go. Right, so that's 1 cup of fat. Now I've made this with all shortening before, and I think that's almost what Kevin prefers. But I think the butter gives it just a little bit better flavor, in my own opinion. The next ingredient is going to be powdered sugar, and basically I just pour in what I think is about 4 cups. I guess I could measure it, but I know that when my bag is full, it's about half of my bag. My bag's not full, but we're going to measure. And I'm going to pour it in as I'm mixing it. So I'm going to mix the butter and the shortening together first. Alright, now I'm gonna slowly add some powdered sugar. We're trying to get 4 cups of powdered sugar here. Stop right there, thinking maybe that's about right. Alright, now to this you're gonna have to add some water. You can add milk too. Milk, if you prefer milk, that would be great. And then I have some homemade vanilla, probably about a teaspoon of this. So I don't have a recipe, as you can see. This is just something that I gleaned from another recipe years ago. So about a teaspoon of vanilla. Alright, it looks like Now you can keep kind of adding water. I'm going to add about a tablespoon, maybe up to 3 tablespoons. It depends on the consistency that you want. So if you want it to spread really smoothly, add more water. If you like it thicker, then add less. Actually, I'm gonna take down the sides. Eat it up some more. You can see how it came together really nicely. And we have to do the taste test to know if it's gonna be good. Ooh, it's good. I think I'm just gonna leave it just like this. Once the cake is complete, then we'll frost it. All right, so here's the finished product of the cake. I let it cool, I frosted it, and then I just sprinkled the remaining pecans on the top.
You didn't use walnuts?
No, I used pecans.
Oh.
Is this your favorite cake?
Potentially be my most favorite.
Yeah. This is your mom's recipe.
Okay.
And
She's made it probably 100 times.
I'm sure she's made more than that. Every birthday, every gathering,
Yeah,
she made
she did.
banana nut cake. So we're gonna cut it open
We are?
and cut it open
Cut it open?
in dad-sized pieces, most likely.
Sounds like surgery.
Definitely dad size.
Yeah.
See, now there's no real art to cutting a cake. You just slide it tight against the side,
Oh.
shove down, and keep it tight against the bottom. And don't go too fast,
Okay.
because you want a nice, clean cut. And a few pecans do get caught. So I have a nice clean, and here's my mini scooper
Spatula.
spatula. So I might need, there we go.
There it is.
So there it is. It looks like it's well cooked.
It's all good. It's well cooked. Yeah, I kind of left it in the oven a little bit too
You
long.
might get a little browner there.
Yeah, you'll
We're
still
good.
eat it, but I
Yeah,
forgot
that's
about
okay.
it when I was working, so
So,
that's okay.
oh, thanks for watching, everybody. Adios.
Broccoli.